District Attorney Sandra, Doorley, Sheriff Todd Baxter, employees of the District Attorney's Office, Sheriff's Office. My name is Chris Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I have been in jail 6 times, and 6 times the prosecutor's not talked in court. There is not one word, there is not one syllable, there is not one sound from these prosecutors' silence before John P. Lomenzo Jr. in Penfordtown Court, Paul C. Metzer in Penfordtown Court, and Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court. Employees of the District Attorney's Office, in particular, Perry Duckles. What are the names of my prosecutors? And you've been refusing for 18 months to disclose these names. A reason I'm demanding these names is that I will pursue disbarment for every single one of my prosecutors with the Appellate Division of State Supreme Court. Perry Duckles, I contacted you on January 1 and demanded this information. I'm going to hold up the Freedom of Information Law. I'm going to read the language on it, where it says clearly, what is the name of the prosecutor? This is why you're corrupt at the District Attorney's Office. You use documentation just like this Freedom of Information Law. You're demanding information every single day. The hypocrisy of you JD psychopaths in refusing to honor the law is nauseating to me. So this is the District Attorney's Office payroll. One of you psychopaths is doing this to me. Multiple psychopaths are doing this to me. When I say one of you psychopaths is doing this to me, because when I'm in court, I can see one. There's a female prosecutor that has my case before John P. Lomenzo Jr. Is that Julie Hine? I don't know. There's the 5'2" 3-piece suit boy before Paul C. Metzler. I don't know his name. There is also 2 females that were standing behind me in my last appearance in New York State Supreme Court before Alex Renzi. And one of you psychopaths in the District Attorney's Office decided to elevate me to Alex Renzi over there at the hackocracy at 99 Exchange Boulevard, where there are 18 hacks and he is the hack. Who made that decision? The person who made that decision is the prosecutor assigned to my appearance before Alex Renzi. I'm going to go into more detail about what he did to me, because I'm at my temporary address at 70 Liberty Pole Way. I get a document in the mail that compels me to go into Alex Renzi, and there I am in Monroe County Jail. It is that frightening and that easy and that simple to be in jail with one psychopath prosecutor, one psychopath judge, and you're in jail. And one of you did that to me before Alex Renzi. It's whoever's assigned to my appearance before him. What are the names of my prosecutors? Perry Duckles. And one reason why I'm holding this up, Perry Duckles, $144,721. Sandy Doors paid $210,000. Right below you, Matthew Schwartz, $135,000. Mark Monahan, $141,000. Nancy Gilliam, $118,000. Michelle Crowley, $131,000. Sarah Van Stradek, $131,000. Monica O'Brien, $117,000. You, Michelle Crowley, convened a grand jury to indict me, and I'm not called a witness. I've said this to you in writing. I've said this multiple times on YouTube. Why? Because you're corrupt. Do you know what I'm talking about, Michelle Crowley? You should. You should know the names. $85,000 Don Benedetto and $73,000 Michael Houlihan. Tell me who I attempted to assault, Michelle Crowley, and you don't know a goddamn thing because you don't want to know a goddamn thing. I'm indicted when I don't know the grand jury's convened and you pick these 18 to 24 anonymous idiots. This is what happened. I leave my residence 2 years ago at midnight to walk to Wegmans. I walk alongside where I lived at 26 Sanders from Drive, which you can see from Penfield Road as you drive toward Wegmans, Target, Cam's Pizza, where I lived for 7 years. I exit the back porch through the sliding glass door. I walk down 3 steps. I walk along the side of my residence. Anything Houlihan and Benedetto say before that is irrelevant. They're liars anyway. They walked onto the private property of my 72-year-old neighbor and hid waiting for me. Did you know about this, Todd Baxter? I don't know if you're listening to me on YouTube, but I'm going to have the transcript of this, and I'm going to ask you this directly in writing. Did you send Don Benedetto and Michael C. Houlihan to wait for me at midnight 2 years ago? Now, pay attention, you psychopaths in the District Attorney's Office, because I'm going to be in jail for this. I never stop running. I leave my back porch. Down the 3 steps, I walk alongside my residence. That's when I see $85,000 Don Benedetto and Michael C. Houlihan come running at me and turn around and run away. Back to the back porch. I never stop running. And as I am a runner, and I have been a runner since elementary school, It is extremely easy to outrun overweight sheriff office employees that are Barney Fife idiots. I never stopped running. This is why people hate the cops, Michelle Crowley. And this is why I'm going to be your ham sandwich, Michelle Crowley. And this is why you're corrupt, Michelle Crowley. I never stopped running. I turn around and run away. Benedetto and Houlihan are behind me. I grab a hammer that's right next to my bike because I would use the hammer to slam the front wheel in because it would break loose. I place my foot on the first of 3 steps. Michael C. Houlihan grabs my arm. The hammer goes up. I pull away, run through the sliding glass door. I never stopped running. Who did I just attempt to assault? Michelle Crowley. I ran the whole time. I grabbed the hammer. Houlihan grabs on the hammer, goes up and run through the sliding glass door. And on the body camera footage of either Michael C. Houlihan or Don Benedetto, I say, fuck you. And fuck you, every single one of you employees at the district attorney's office, sheriff's office. You convene the grand jury, Michelle Crowley, and this is where Michael C. Houlihan perjures himself. And I'm demanding a transcript of the grand jury, which I have not written the Freedom of Information law for that yet, but I will. And you'll refuse to provide me the transcript. I don't believe one exists. I want you to tell me you have no record of this grand jury that indicts me. And I'm in Monroe County Jail for this. This is how I'm going to be in jail for this. I'm in the residence now. They're outside. And there were other sheriff office employees. I think there were about 5 of them. That's what my neighbor told me. So it's Houlihan, Benedetto, and 3 other ones. I'm inside. The next day, I'm walking into Gold's Gym in Fairport. I get to the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans. 5 Monroe County Sheriff Office employees reach me. One of these psychopaths gets out of his vehicle that works for Todd Baxter, runs at me, drives his shoulder into my hip, knocks me down, and my head slammed down on the concrete pavement. This is a violent attack upon me, and then he briefly sat on me. And the other psychopath with this guy says to me in his 1984, "Don't move, Chris." Where am I going? I'm surrounded by 5 vehicles, 10 plus employees, and your employee, Michael Radler, at the sheriff's office with Marine-style haircut and tattoos, watched this happen to me. You know why I'll never know the name of this psychopath that works for Sheriff Todd Baxter that violently attacked me at the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans? Because every single one of those employees at the sheriff's office that watched the attack upon me, which is planned. They planned to attack me. They talked about attacking me. That's why I'm attacked. We'll say they didn't see anything because they had a blue wall silence. I had to get an MRI. I'm in the MRI tube, and the technician is saying, "Don't move your leg, Chris." I didn't know my leg was moving. So, who is it? I have multiple prosecutors. I've been in jail 6 times. Every time I make a court appearance, every time I'm sentenced to jail as an innocent man, every time, I have a prosecutor assigned to my court appearance. Who is it? You disgusting sick hack, Perry Duckles. Look at my face, you fucking degenerate. What are the names of my prosecutors? Christopher.Chichester@mail.com. Christopher.Chichester@mail.com. I'm going to tell you what you're thinking when I call you a fucking degenerate. You're thinking he should be arrested using that language. This is exactly what you're thinking because you cannot control those sick compulsions that you have. I view you at the district attorney's and sheriff's office just like I view and thought about the mafia in New York City in the 1970s and 1980s, because as I'm from Long Island, reports about the mafia would be on the city all the time. And as my mother and father are from Queens, I would hear about John Gotti in the 70s before he was even a national figure. That's how I think about you. Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, the mafia. So, you come to my residence, the man, my little guy, this is why people hate the police. I went to Lollipop Farm Humane Society in 2012 when I lived in Webster with my ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley. This is one of the best days of my life. We were asked in 2012, when I was 47 years old, have you ever been arrested? Laura and I both answered no. Went to the cages at Lollipop, adopted my little guy, brought him home to Webster. Laura's hired at the Penfield Public Library, and Laura and I moved from Webster to Penfield, where I don't know Penfield Town Court. It's down the hallway from the entrance to the library, even though my girlfriend I live with works at the Penfield Public Library. That's where $34,000 John P. Lomenzo is and $28,000 James C. Mully Jr. This is why I'm talking about this. This is why people hate the police. 7 years and 4,000 times I walk my little guy on the land behind my residence that has no ownership. This is it right here. Land ownership is proved by documentation. This is nothing. This is fiction. This is from Layla Kumar Nairashah, 2033 Penfield Road, who went to the sheriff's office and then $67,000 Shannon Meyer for a parking lot I've walked through 4,000 times. There's an arrest warrant for me because of then $67,000 Shannon Myers now paid $83,000 for a parking lot I've walked through 4,000 times, but not anybody else. So where's my 14th Amendment right to equal protection laws, you psychopaths, the sheriff's office and district attorney's office, when I'm the only citizen to be arrested for walking through this parking lot? Land ownership is proven by documents. I'm walking my dog on land that has no ownership. 7 years and 4,000 times. People love their dogs with their heart and souls. I'm not special in that regard. You're supposed to love your dog just like you do your friends and family members. 4,000 times. The back window from the Shaw Law Firm at 2033 Penfield Road opens. A woman is screaming at me. I don't know what that is. I bring my little guy in. I walk through the parking lot into what's called the Shaw Law Firm at 33 Penfield Road, because if a woman is screaming at me, there has to be some type of dialogue. I want to talk to this person. She refused to talk to me. Layla Kumar and A-Rod Shah refused to talk to me. A 50-year-old man who lives with a 70-year-old mother. A half an hour later, Psychopaths Incorporated that work for Sheriff Todd Baxter are banging on my front door with an employee from Penfield Animal Control. And there's this vicious confrontation when I open up the door with Sheriff Todd Baxter's fanatics demanding my dog. And I said to them, you'll have to kill me to take my little guy from me. And I slammed the dog on their faces. I slammed the door on their faces when they're demanding my dog. I walked back to his dog bed. My mother and father bought me this beautiful dog bed for him. And he was shaking. I picked him up, I put him on my shoulder, and I almost completely lost it. This is why people hate the cops, you Benito Mussolini skinhead. Your psychopaths want to come to my residence to demand my dog, because this is the disease in the mind, the fanaticism of the brain of a cop that's been on the job for too long and that's consumed by power and control. Why don't you just simply call me Todd Baxter? Because your sick employees want to come and confiscate my dog, and then talk about how they confiscated my dog. That's why people hate the police. How many times I've used the freedom of information? Well, I don't know how am I going to attach a PDF, but you will see documentation attached in PDF. This is blank. I'm going to fill this out. So the documentation that's attached in PDF to this Proton Mail account that I'm using, I'm going to update it. And all the information that I've been demanding from you at the district attorney's office and sheriff's office, such as out-of-state travel, you will refuse to comply with. So when I fill this out, I'm telling you what you're going to do. Now, that's blank. What's not blank are these. I'm only going to read the first one here. This is December 16th, where I demanded the number of minors on the public employee payroll, the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Sandra Doorley. The second one is for you, Todd Baxter. You know the answer, Perry Duckles, to how many minors are on the payroll. Because that's the payroll. That's the full-time employees. And these are the start dates here, and also I have documentation for the part-time rates for the sheriff's office. So the number of minors on the payroll for the sheriff's office, district attorney's office, nepotism, enrages voters, enrages franchise. So I'm attempting to learn if you have nepotism at the sheriff's office. This is a different one. It's 70 in here. On January 10th, all 70, you refuse to comply with the first one. The total number of contracts signed by District Attorney Sandra Doorley to purchase products, commodities, goods, materials for the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. There's corruption in contracting. Who are your contractors at the District Attorney's Office? Your pens, your pads, your pencils, your desks, your copy machines. Every single thing that you have in that repulsive shack at 47 South Fitzhugh, I demand to know how it's paid for, and you're refusing. This is why I tell Controller Thomas P. DiNapoli when I demand that you be audited. Another 70 here, January 26th. A copy of the private healthcare records delivered to $28,000 Penfield Court Judge Paul C. Metz by Sheriff Todd J. Baxter of Monroe County in violation of the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996, HIPAA, passed by my former employers, the United States Senate, United States House of Representatives. Where did I go after Monroe County Jail, Todd Baxter? I'm not going to say it, because I would have to talk about that for 15 minutes. But Regina Harper, the Public Defender's Office, knows where I went. And it says right here, 813-648-4441. That's my phone number. 620 Park Avenue, PNB number 361, Rochester, New York, February 26th. Why does Paul C. Metz or Todd Baxter know, in violation of federal law, HIPAA, what I only told my mother and father? Huh? Because you Benito Mussolini skinhead, you sick degenerate, you party-switching fraud, you gave my private health care records to $28,000 bald-headed widow in Penfield Town Court. Play this YouTube Michael Rabbit, Kathleen Miller, William Today on Scott Alberti from your disgusting sick hack boss and tell him what I'm saying here about federal law and my health care records. How is that possibly explained? This here is January 28th. So, I walk into the Penfield Public Library. This is how easy it is to be in jail with two people. Two people are going to decide I'm going to be in Livingston County Jail. I leave my residence at 26 Sanders Farm Drive. I do not know I'm being watched as I leave my residence by Richard J. Seaton of the Sheriff's Office, Todd Baxter, $75,000 fanatic, and another fanatic of the Sheriff's Office. I leave my residence at 26 Sanders Farm Drive. I get to Penfield Road in 60 seconds. I walk down Penfield Road to Bad Road. I walk into the Penfield Public Library at 1985 Bad Road. The whole time, $75,000 psychopath Richard J. Seaman and the other Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee are watching me and follow me. And this is the lunatic fringe, you Benito Mussolini skinhead. This is why you're a Benito Mussolini skinhead. I sit down at the computer at the Penfield Public Library. Richard J. Seaman, I'm going to read this about him. That's why I'm holding this up. Walks into the Penfield Public Library. I had a previous confrontation with him, and he's going to exact vengeance upon me with violence, a sworn officer, law, holster weapon, and a badge as a comic thug and criminal. This is Richard J. Seaman, you Benito Mussolini skinhead, you psychopath Todd Baxter, and he will not be fired, even though he's a psychopath just like you. So I sit down at the computer. Seaman runs at me. He ran in the library, holds his arm out like this, clotheslines me with the arm. Seaman's arm slammed me in the head, and I fell backwards, and then my head hit the ceramic tile of the library floor. I had to make an instantaneous decision not to attack Richard J. Seaman, and I have told him since then, because I saw him again for double jeopardy in Penfield Road. If I see this Richard J. Seaman again anywhere in civilian clothes, I will attack him. There's going to be a fight between me and him, which he will lose. So anyway, I had money in my pocket. You will not fire Richard J. Seaman for attacking me and having a check issued to me. You will not. It doesn't matter to you that Richard J. Seaman's a violent thug and fanatic at the Sheriff's Office. Doesn't matter to you, Michael Radley. Doesn't matter to you, Kathleen Miller. Doesn't matter to you, Scott Alberti. Doesn't matter to you, $101,000 William Tadeo. Doesn't matter to anybody at the Sheriff's Office because you believe in violence. Freedom of Information Law, January 28th. The issuance of a new check to Christopher Chichester, the address below for an expired check in the amount of $61.39 from the County of Monroe Office of Sheriff and May Fund account because that's a dollar amount in the pocket of Christopher Chichester when he's violently attacked the Penfield Public Library by $75,000 Richard J. Seaman, Monroe County Sheriff's Office. This is in your office. Nobody says to me, oh, well, we don't know what you're talking about our employee attacking you. The check had to be issued to me, or should be issued to me. I'm demanding the money because I had the check and it expired. That's why. So, I have that there. Again, I'm demanding information over and over and over from you psychopaths at the Sheriff's Office, the District Attorney's Office, and you're refusing every single time to provide me with the information I'm demanding. And this is a Freedom of Information Law. I think there are 2,000 documents on that couch where I used to live on Pleasant Street. I moved from Pleasant Street to a different address on Park Avenue because what's on Pleasant Street, next to that Worldwide News, I think it's called, is extremely disturbing. What I see on that Pleasant Street and that whole area around the Transit Center, I have not seen in the two other cities I lived in Albany, Newark, and Washington, D.C. It is extremely disturbing what I see and how people behave outside screaming at each other all day long. If you walk by that transit center, you're around that transit center, you're going to see them congregating out there, screaming at each other all day long. And that's really sick and depraved. So, over and over and over, I'm demanding information from you, and you're refusing to provide it to me. This is what you have in your office, too. Every document I show on here, you have in your office. This is November 28th. This is sent to you by a Proton Mail account, which is going to arrive here, where I say, comply with the attached PDF Freedom of Information Law document dated November 28, 2022, and mail the information on demand to the address on the United Parcel Service. And there are 3 links here: corruptible, delusion, and denial, and 0. All 3 times on November 28th, and all 3 of those U2s were made in November. I'm telling you to disclose the names of my prosecutors, and you're refusing. This is on December 18th, Defiance, where it says comply with the attached PDF dated December 18, 2022, that it's 58 Freedom of Information Law documents. You were signed for this documentation when it was dated December 20th, 2022, December 22nd, 2022. So on December 18th, December 20th, December 22nd, you have documentation in the district attorney's office. I'm telling you psychopaths to tell me the names of my prosecutors. And you're refusing. Every single time, you're refusing. And this here is December 22nd, again, where you're going to refuse. Apply with detached PDF dated December 22nd. That is 67 Freedom of Information Law documents you assigned for this documentation dated December 24, 2022 and December 26, 2022. You refused. You got it. They arrived in your office. This is December 26th. I'm communicating with you via email, registered mail return receipt, UPS, and Federal Express, demanding names of my prosecutors, and every single time you have refused. This is December 26th. You received in 24 to 48 hours. The United Postal Service 67 Freedom of Information Law documents dated December 26, 2022. This documentation was also mailed via UPS to your office on December 22nd. The file is attached to PDF. Mail the information. I demand my UPS address listed below to include identification of my prosecutor's silence when you refused. December 26th. Why? Because you're corrupt. That's why. This is January 3rd. Here. Apply with detached PDF dated January 3rd. That is 66 Freedom of Information Law documents. This is attached PDF for robbing your office via UPS, and it did. This is tracked. This is always tracked. On the Freedom of Information Law, on that January 3rd, where I mailed it to you, where you signed for it, or it was tracked, I'm telling you to disclose the names of my prosecutors, and you refused. This year is January 5th. Sandra, Doorley, Todd, Baxter. Here is all your emails right here. You could blow me off. I don't understand if I'm blown off. It arrives in your office. Sandra Doorley signs for it. Sandra Doorley looks at this, where she knows I'm demanding the names of my prosecutors with silence for every single one of my court appearances, why I'm in jail 6 times, and she's refusing every time. This is in January 5th. Apply with detached PDF dated January 5th, 2023. That is 66 Freedom of Information Law documents. This attached PDF will arrive at your office via UPS tomorrow. Mail the information I demand to the address below in Rochester. This includes the names of my prosecutors' silence. January 5th. February, March, April, nearly 3 months ago. So, this is what I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice. This YouTube that I'm making is going to be sent to the Department of Justice. And you're going to refuse. So, this is January 10th. Apply with detached PDF dated January 10th. That is 72 Freedom of Information Law documents. This includes identification of prosecutor's silence. This is called accountability, and you refused. This is a lunatic fringe. This is corruption. This is fanaticism. So this is January 10th. Apply with detached PDF dated January 10, 2023. There's 70 Freedom of Information Law documents. This PDF will arrive in your office via UPS tomorrow. So this is January 12th in your office, called rejection and accountability, which you refused. Todd Baxter. I'm going to read this letter. Think about the best possible lie. You have to lie about this. This photograph is why you're a fanatic. This photograph is why you're an extremist. This photograph is why you're a liar. This photograph is why I know the name is $67,000 disgusting act. Shannon Meyer. This photograph is why people hate the police. What am I going to show you? Elliot Roth, who works at this building at 2025 Penfield Road, knows. That's a camera called a surveillance device. You see it right there. It's a high resolution color photo, but you can see it. When I came outside to tell Steve Desmond, Brock Coltrane, Monkey, and nobody knows the land next to my residence, walk back in my residence, that's not a crime. It's 6 sheriff's office employees are standing on my front lawn. I'm taken down to Jonestown at the sheriff's office and placed in his holding cell. I'm locked inside. I can't reach the urinal. I urinated on myself. That's when the Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee came to me with this gruesome smile. He's got his phone in his hand, and he showed me the video image of me outside, and that's how I know my right arm is moving. I call this a surveillance device. Over and over. One day I finished my run, about 6 months after this disgusting day when I'm out of jail. I'm calling a surveillance device, which is what it is. And Regina Harper sent me the images, and this is a camera that's on a building where Elliot Roth works. And I'm demanding if it's private technology or if it's a public device you bought, Todd Baxter, calling it accurately a surveillance device over and over, and you know you can humiliate me when I use that word, when I use that phrase, and you're going to. I finished my run on Willow Pond Way, which connects to Sanders Farm Driveway where I used to live. As I begin to walk to the driveway, I see a Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee in my front driveway. And I turn around and run away. I'm thinking, I don't even want a part of this. I'm already running. I'll continue to run. I started to run again, back down Willapa Way. Lindsey Barron, the Monroe County Office of Mental Health, is with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee. You psychopaths at the Sheriff's Office either bought that device from me or you're using private technology from me. Either way, it's a surveillance device. And only in 1984 do you think it's not a surveillance device. I run back down Willapa Way. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee is in his vehicle driving at me with Lindsey Barron, the Monroe County Office of Mental Health, and Lindsey Barron is screaming at me outside the Monroe County Sheriff's Office vehicle over and over. I want to talk to you, Chris. I finally stopped. She gets out. I said, we're not talking about anything. I have nothing to say to you. And she could see my demeanor, and she immediately left. This is a surveillance device, you degenerate, Todd Baxter. Is it private technology? Do you spend taxpayer dollars for it? Elliot Rother works at 2025 Penfield Road. What's the answer? So, this is when I was evicted and I got out of Livingston County Jail. I ran back down from the Monroe County Sheriff's Office in Rochester. I went from Livingston County Jail in Geneseo to Rochester. I ran back down Penfield Road. I get to my front door. The door's locked. My landlord, Giuseppe Spano and Antonino Spano, these father-son psychopaths locked me out. I do not know that the front door is locked. And I went to Harris Island Park. I slept in a park for 3 weeks, right near the baseball fields. I would be sleeping on this bench, and sometimes the wild animals would come out at night. Occasionally there would be a person, or I hear a sound. I now know how to sleep, as ridiculous as this sounds, but having awareness around it. In that park for 3 weeks because my landlords locked the door and locked me out. And my ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley, who I've known for 35 years, took everything I owned to a storage locker, and she's refusing to tell me the facts and circumstances of me being locked out and her receiving a phone call from my landlords and taking everything I owned to a storage locker in Webster without a court order. It requires a court order, one, to lock the doors on the tenant. Giuseppe Spano and Antonino Spano don't have it. And it requires, two, a court order to take everything else from where I used to live to a storage locker. There is no court order. This is you smashing me into a million little pieces to the sheriff's office, the district attorney's office. Giuseppe Spano's 47-year-old son had multiple sclerosis and he's dead. The father, Antonino Spano, right in the process of writing a criminal complaint about him. You know why he won't be arrested? Because you don't know what a crime is at the sheriff's office, the district attorney's office. And he won't be arrested because of his age, which is about 80. And you will conclude, you psychopaths at the district attorney's office, that we can't prosecute an 80-year-old man. It's exactly what's going to happen. And when that happens, I'll be back on here saying, I told you so. This is what I wrote to my ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley. This is on January 25th, 2023. Tell me what happened, my illegal eviction. My illegal eviction you participated in and refusing to answer questions about. The law requires a court order to remove my personal possessions from 26 Sandra from driving Penfield to a storage locker in Webster, New York. Do you know the fact about the law? You left possessions in the residence. What is happening to me is insane. What she didn't take out of the residence are my dress greens. The questions. What individual called you to come to where we used to live at 26 Sandra from driving Penfield? Number one. Number two, did the dead son Giuseppe Spano or the father Antonino Spano call you? Did the dead son Giuseppe Spano, the father Antonino Spano, use threatening language? Did the dead son Giuseppe Spano, the father Antonino Spano, state my personal possessions to be thrown in the trash? What did you say to my sister Barbara paying for the storage locker? It is insane I have to ask these questions. Our relationship ended. I forced to demand answers from you because you decided to reject yourself into my life. You decided to be in my life under a sick and delusional belief that you're somehow helping me. I don't know if this is your email that doesn't have your name and begins ludicrously with send. I don't know if you still live at 781 Winifred Drive in Webster, New York. I don't know why you've refused to respond to simple questions. I do know that you exist in a state of indifference to decency, despite the fact we live in 3 different residences together. What's my name? Where am I from? How long have you known me? Contact me at my address at Park Avenue below with the answers to these questions. Sign for your registered mail return receipt. When it arrives from me, you're unrecognizable. And there are 2 YouTube links here. One's called For Laura Riley again, and YouTube For Laura Riley. This is in your office. That's it right here. And I'm going to write a criminal complaint about her. I have no hesitation. And I did have hesitation at first. And she's just refusing to tell me what happened, which is really disgusting. I now know that people that you have the highest thoughts possible about in life and admire, respect, and love can suddenly change instantaneously when they're unrecognizable, and that's her. This is what you've done to me at your repulsive, disgusting, sick sheriff's office and district attorney's office. Well, I'll write a criminal complaint about my ex-girlfriend because it's a crime to take my personal possessions to a storage locker in Webster, New York without a court order. That's what the Tenant Defense Project told me. And I don't have the arrogance that I'm right about everything. And if I state something that's incorrect, I'll do my best to be correct moving forward. It takes a court order lock a tenant out, even without a lease. It takes court order to have all my possessions, stores locked, and everything is gone, including my 1,000+ books are gone. My clothes are gone. My running shoes are gone. My racing jerseys are gone. My television's gone. My couch is gone. Every single thing I own is gone because of Giuseppe Spano, Antonino Spano, my ex-girlfriend Laura Riley, who I've copied on this YouTube, is refusing to answer questions about my illegal eviction. Do you understand why it's illegal? There is no court order. When I lived in Albany, New York for 5 years, I did not have a lease. And I did not have a lease when I lived in Washington, D.C. for 5 years. For 10 years of my life, I have not had a lease. So that's why when I moved to Penfield in 2012 with my then girlfriend Laura Riley, I didn't think, what do I need a lease for? And what I now know is that tenants that don't have a lease, they only have the same protections as a tenant with a lease because of psychopath landlords. So, you, Todd Baxter, have in your office this document here. I'm standing on my front lawn in handcuffs, just telling the man in his tractor nobody owns the land next to my residence. And I've told you to fire this freak. This is a little blurry here and dark, but this is the one-page Nayraj Shah, who goes to the sheriff's office. I didn't walk through a park that I've walked through 4,000 times. Goes to the sheriff's office. This is the accusatory instrument from then $67,000 Shannon Meyer, this freak that you gave a $16,000 raise to. This gets me in Monroe County Jail. This Nayraj Shah, 50-year-old man, was with his 70-year-old mother, going to the sheriff's office while we walked through his park lot. Paul C. Metzer is writing these orders of protection, even though I have never met Layla Kumar and Nayraj Shah. There's an order of protection for me to avoid two people that live 200 yards from me. I go to the YMCA, and I'm on the wrong machine. And as I'm on the wrong machine, I can see the speed bag that's about 50 feet in front of me, which I taught myself how to use because I've been a boxing fan since elementary school. And when I was on the wrong machine, I thought, I really need to learn how to use that so I can think about my favorite fighters of all time. And standing in the speed bag this day is Layla Kumar Shah. This is how a psychopath like Paul C. Metzer, this nauseating, sick, disgusting hack, who sits there alone without a jury, without a table for a defense attorney, without a table for a prosecutor, without a witness stand for testimony, can level a human being. I'm on the wrong machine. Layla Kumar Shah begins to walk toward me from the speed bag. She stands right in front of me as I'm on the wrong machine. I look up at this freak. I say, what's my name? You know my name. She points bizarrely to something next to me. And I say, I don't know what that is. Then she goes over to the YMCA employee and tells the YMCA employee that I don't belong at the YMCA. And she leaves. The next day, I walk into the YMCA. And before I could go back to this same room and work out, the employee says to me, Mike wants to talk to you. I thought this is about the day before, and they're going to terminate my membership at the YMCA because I've been kicked out of other gyms because you're psychopaths at the sheriff's office, Todd Baxter. Michael Avery at the YMCA wants to talk to me about what happened. I go up to the second floor of the YMCA. I tell him everything. I smoked him for 60 minutes. I'm telling him about this freak Layla Kumar Shah. I'm telling him about you freak Paul C. Metzer, you bald-headed widow. And he tells me you're welcome to come to the YMCA anytime you want. This is what this nauseating, disgusting hack Paul C. Metzer was doing to me with a humiliation device, with an order of protection. I've never met the Layla Kumar Shah and Nayraj Shah. So, when I was on Pleasant Street, which I no longer live there, and sometimes I would go into Brighton, I would get back late at night, and it would be dark out. And what I see on that East Main Street, especially around the transit center, I'm sure you know about the murder of Armani Allen by Donald and Ronald Brown. I'm thinking I have to have some type of protection with me, which I have in my belt. And now that I moved and I live over on Park Avenue, I'm not as concerned about the violence that's right around the transit center. But I have on my hip this here. Any citizen in Rochester, New York, after dark, 8 p.m., that doesn't have something like this, or pepper spray or something, some protection, is insane. This is the Rochester, New York of you, Sheriff Todd Baxter, and your employees that I'm talking to, I hope, on this YouTube, and you, District Attorney Sandra, and your employees, I hope I'm talking to. Because I lived in Albany, New York for 5 years. And if you know Albany, there's Washington Avenue, Western Avenue, Central Avenue, Madison Avenue. I walked all over the city, 12 midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, no fear. The 5 years I lived in Washington, D.C., I walked all over Washington, D.C. I'd go see my then girlfriend. Her name was Mindy. She lived up near RFK Stadium. I'd walk from the Capitol, sometimes to RFK Stadium, or ride my bike up there at night or take the train. Never had any fear walking around Washington, D.C. and Albany. I have fear in Rochester, New York, based on the freaks that I see. Rochester, New York is a city of freaks because you, Sheriff Todd Baxter, are a freak, and you, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, are a freak. My name is Christopher Chichester. I have never committed a crime.